I'm looking forward to for a fight with Benitez. And if I can stay at a distance where he can't use his counter move, I think it'll be a much easier fight.
I know that he's afraid of me, and I'm gonna get him, but no problem. I'll knock him out.
The year is 1982. Thomas the Hitman Hearns has bounced back from his first professional loss against Sugar Ray Leonard in a blaze of glory.
He had that real devil evil in his eye, like he wanted to hurt you.
And while his personal life is stifling with cracks through no fault of his own, his job of putting men on the canvas has never been in finer shape. But now Tommy must wage war with another former victim of Leonard and arguably the man who's recovered best in defeat against him by this point, the WBC Super Welterweight champion Wilfred Benitez. So, can the Hitman with a truncheon's power blow the head off of the youngest champion in boxing history? Or will the oft-proclaimed Bible of boxing be able to use his faith to ascend to a higher power, send Tommy down to hell, and force him to rebuild his stock once more as a world champion level fighter?
When I step into the ring, no matter who's there, I have to become a winner.
Thomas Hearns had more than a well-publicized journey in his fight to the top of the boxing food chain. And while he lost his 0-3 years ago to Sugar Ray Leonard in an incredible bout which had him winning on all 3 scorecards before eventually gassing out in his first ever 15-round bout, Hearns had the eye of a tiger and the heart of a lion.
Boxing really was all that Detroit had, and I believe that Tommy felt that he let the whole city down when he lost that fight.
There was 2 champions in the same division, and one of us had to be eliminated. And I say, Detroit, I shall return.
And a tremendous comeback by Tommy Hearns. You really can't imagine that he was stopped in his last fight for the welterweight championship of the world.
After rebuilding his resume with decent wins over contenders across varying divisions, such as welterweight and middleweight, Hearns finally set himself a middle ground for a shot at the super welterweight title.
Keep that belt by your bed, because it'll be the last time you see it.
I knew from day one that man stood would definitely look out for me, not just to develop me as a fighter, but to develop me as a young man.
While his power seemed just as destructive as ever, the added weight also seemed to mask his one sole weakness a little better: his legs, and, more specifically, his balance.
Thomas Hearns, among the original drug fighters, was not the most naturally talented, but what made Thomas so special was his unbelievable determination.
There's no denying that Hearns had flaws in his earlier years. His lack of disrespect made him far too honorable in the ring to slow the pacing of any fight down, feeling the need to match the tempo of whoever he fought and looking down upon those who resorted to foul play or even clinching. Still, after being shown why these are integral parts of the sport and finally gassing out against Leonard, Hearns put these necessary age-old tactics to use and improved himself on every front.
Tommy Hearns in the first round.
Wilfred Benitez was another once-in-a-lifetime talent, just like his adversary. Being the youngest champion in boxing history is no small feat, and while it was already incredible when it happened, it continues to age like wine, where despite fighters turning professional younger than ever, they still can't achieve what the great Benitez did with more belts to capture now than ever.
Oh, what a shot!
He was so elusive. He was never a stationary target. He had that natural God-blessed talent that he could feel a punch and slip it.
Wilfred didn't have quite the gleaming resume that most of the 4 kings had gained by this point. He didn't have a Leonard on his resume as Duran did, and he didn't have a Hearns like Leonard did. But he did have one of the 4 kings, the great Roberto Duran. Although many describe this era of Roberto as his darkest hour, when his hate from back home, lack of self-confidence, and uncertainty in the dressing room with his team led him to throw fights with half-hearted performances and a lack of polish on his once untouchable aggression, it was still one of Benitez's shining performances.
Benitez, virtually without question, is the winner of the fight.
But now, these two chosen undead who had both felt the wrath of a prime Sugar Ray Leonard must battle it out for a title that will show they still have some soul left in their inventory and can become a great one looking down from above in one of the most stacked eras of the Super Welterweight division in history. Fight night. They arrived on December 3rd, 1982. And much like some of the greatest fighters of pugilism's history, these two men looked ready to break bones, spill blood, and achieve greatness as they had a tense face-off in the ring. And before there was time for the tensity to cool, the war between two of the greatest fighters of their era began.
Underway, round one. Super Welterweight Championship. Tommy Hearns on the right in the white trunks.
Tommy's left jab must be consistent. He has to keep it out there, keep it busy, keep Benitez thinking. You see that right hand there, twice thrown by Tommy. Benitez is able to just get out of the way of it. Tommy parry out a couple of times.
That was a good right hand by Hearns. Actually caught him twice, but did not that time. And the other one went by his back. There's a good right hand by Hearns, but he can't double up on it. Almost every one of those missed except the first one. Benitez bouncing off the ropes and caught him, but not a lot of those are scoring. Not a lot scored as I saw it. Counter punch by Hearns. Benitez a combination, the winner of this fight. Marvin Hagler awaits somebody. Both men would like to have him. That was Benitez.
Tommy is going to eventually measure up to Benitez and catch him with a good punch.
And Tommy Hearns is being given a 1-point penalty for hooking the back of the head.
It's not because it's Tommy Hearns' fault. It's just the way that Benitez fights. He gets inside, he feints you and everything. He comes in with his head down.
Benitez getting inside for just a moment on Hearns.
Now a right hand.
There's a right hand, and that knocks Benitez back. They're going to call it a knockdown. Benitez doesn't like it. Don't question Benitez's hurt.
Or what?
Now that was a combination of the fact that he was hurt and he slipped a little bit. Benitez seems to have his legs back under him now.
Benitez knows he must make a positive move to get to Hearns, and he's in Hearns' range now where earlier he was not.
It's now a heavily uphill battle for Wilfred, but he's faced many tough problems in the past. And if he beat Tommy tonight, it would be the first time he shocked the world by coming back from being down on the cards.
You learn every fight.
That was a good shot. Good uppercut by Hearns. Benitez trying to weather this one, taking a few shots, takes the right hand and another left. And there's the right hand that buckles Benitez. And Benitez is against the ropes and in trouble. Hearns after him at the bell. Smashing right hand.
Benitez just doubled back to his corner. He's really hurt. I think that's the factor there.
The other thing, Ray, is he just seems to really be right on balance with his punches.
I mean, everything. Tommy has learned a great deal. If I was Benitez, you know, at this point now, he has to become more aggressive now. It's difficult to win a fight against Tommy Hearns.
Doubling up with the left hand is Hearns. There's the right hand by Benitez. Hearns kind of grins back at him. Inside the 30-second mark.
That right hand was a good right hand, though.
After two highly competitive rounds in the 7th and 8th, which many believe could be leading to a usurping of the crown from Benitez, Wilfred comes out in the 9th looking ready to end the fight once and for all, after peppering Thomas Hearns with some crunchy headshots for the better part of 2 minutes.
And the mistake that Benitez can't make is go straight into Tommy.
Benitez took one and gave one again, and Hearns is knocked back with the left hand. They say it was a punch, not a knockdown. Hearns is saying, no, I think it was a punch. It was the end of round 9. I'm curious to see this myself.
Yeah, it didn't look like a really good punch at all. It hit Hearns high on the head and just sort of tilted him over.
Hearns was not hurt by that, no more than Benitez was when he got knocked out.
And then he puts his hands up later on.
There was a good right hand by Benitez, and Hearns did not flinch. Right hand lead by Benitez. Hearns saying, come on, come to me. Benitez saying, you come here. And Benitez comes back, and now he takes the right hand from Hearns. Says, no, I'm not hurt. took a good shot from Hearns. Combination by Hearns. This is the 11th round. And that was the better exchange by Hearns. A right hand by Hearns was the best punch of that exchange. Benitez trying to pick up the pace here. There's a right hand by Benitez. That was a pretty good shot. And he takes the right hand.
Benitez is picking the pace up, but he's walking in.
Took a good shot. That was a good left hand from Hearns. There was a right hand that did land on the top of the head.
After many fearing Hearns would gas out as he did against Leonard just a few short years ago, a breath of relief comes to the fans just before the 15th round begins, as Hearns had consistently beaten Benitez to the punch for the better half of the fight's final third. The two men come out and touch gloves for the final round.
I assume Benitez would have to knock him out.
I think he needs a double knockout to win.
And even then it'll be close.
Well, Benitez just made a good right hand against Tommy.
Did get a right hand in. Benitez against the ropes, got the left hand to the chest, missed the right hand. And Hearns keeps the jab in the face. This one is just about history. Inside of 10. Benitez found Hearns with the right hand.
How great of a technician Benitez is. He just couldn't find a way that was effective enough to get through Tommy Hearns' defense.
And Hearns finishes with a flurry.
After a great war that showed why Thomas Hearns was destined to be a legend and why Wilfred Benitez had the talent to become the youngest world champion of all time, the bout ended conclusively, according to the fans, but far more controversially with the judges.
Lou Filippo of California sees it 142 to 142, calling it even. 144 to 139 in favor of the winner by majority vote, the new Super Welterweight.
Both men put their heart and soul into this fight and earned themselves a spot in the Hall of Fame. Yet they would go on to show why for many years. Hearns would eventually avenge his loss to Leonard with a draw, which many deemed unfair for Tommy, and become a world champion in 3 other weight classes, making him the first ever 5-weight world champion. Benitez, on the other hand, would showcase his greatness primarily outside of the ring, suffering from an incurable brain disease caused by his years as a boxer, and living to beat its cruel japes, laughing in its face and using his inner and outer strength to minimize its efforts. After dealing with it for more than 40 years and continuing to stay in positive spirits with a healthy body, Wilfred continues to live and fight every day, winning and defending the world title of life more impressively than almost any other man can aspire to do. We take our hats off to Thomas Hearns for his achievements and victories in the ring. And we also pay our respects to Wilfred Benitez for his incredible accomplishments as a boxer, between the 4 ropes, and as an undefeated fighter outside of it.
No matter who's there, have to become a winner.